Okay guys, welcome back. So in this lesson we're going to talk about something called the Pythagorean theorem, and for short it's known as just PYTHAG. P-Y, let's shade these in, P-Y-T H-A-G, just PYTHAG for short. And this is a theory or a theorem that by which we find the measure of the three sides, in parentheses we're going to write edges, of a right triangle. It's okay if you go outside the boundaries here. Okay? A right triangle and all three sides. This is to find the measure of the three sides slash edges of a right triangle. And there's some fundamentals, there's some basics that you have to know. Okay? The theory, the formula itself is called a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, and this is going to be on your formula chart, and I'll show you how to use that and where to find it. You must write it down every time you have a Pythagorean theorem problem. It's important that you always write the formula. This is no exception. Okay, each one of these letters they're always going to be A, B, and C in this case. So these variables, this one's always going to be A, this one's always going to be B, this one's always going to be C, and they have particular parts of a right triangle. If you'll look at this right triangle, there's a short side, there's a medium side, and then there's this side, which is going to be the longest side. We'll come back to that. So right here we want to say A is going to be the shortest side, and in parentheses please write edge. B is going to be the medium side, and in parentheses please write edge. And then C is going to be the longest side, and in parentheses write edge. Okay, now they also have some special names. Okay, and the special name for the C side is going to be called a hypotenuse, and you spell it like this: Hypotenuse. Hypotenuse. It's called the hypotenuse, and its special name, you'll probably never forget that for the rest of your life. Seems like it always comes up in life. These two sides, these two edges of the triangle, they're both legs. They're the legs of the triangle. Okay? So you have a leg, and then you're going to have the hypotenuse. There's also a special name for the hypotenuse, and let's write that under here. We're going to call it the diagonal, D-I-A-G-O-N-A-L. Okay, so sometimes it's going to be told to you as the diagonal, and you're going to recognize, hey, that's the C side, that's the hypotenuse. Those three words or parts are going to come together for you. So as an example, like this one, you would simply go and label the shortest side A, the medium side B, and you would, in order to ensure that you know that this side is C, you're going to find this right angle, you're going to circle it, and you're going to draw an arrow to the hypotenuse, to the longest side, which you're going to call C. Okay? And then you're going to list all of your parts. I've got A, B, and C. Okay, let's start with C. C we know is 13. Working backwards, B we know is 8. And A just has a variable X. So that's IDK. I don't know. Okay, so we're going to use this theorem here, and we're going to find out how long is that line. That's what this problem is asking. Find X. Okay, we'll come back to these notes, but those are just some of the basics I wanted you to understand before I explain just a little bit more down here. Okay, so hopefully you can see here I've got 3 perfect squares. I've got 1 perfect square, 2 perfect squares, 3 perfect squares, and these perfect squares, the edges of those perfect squares, the sides of those perfect squares, they form together a right triangle. Okay, there's your right angle right there. Okay, and when 3 perfect squares, they must be perfect squares, they can't be rectangles or other triangles, they need to be 3 perfect squares. When 3 perfect squares come together to form a perfect right triangle, we can always determine the 3 sides of that triangle. Now you can imagine this is very important. If, like I was talking about before, if you're a fireman or if you're building buildings or if you're any type of architect, if you're a seamstress, if you're going to be a carpenter, this is going to be, you're going to use this all of the time. Let's talk about how it works. What I want you to see is that I've got a short side, a medium side, and a long side. Okay, and that's just part of having a right triangle. You're always going to have a short, medium, and long. All right. But what I want you to do is I want you to count off of this shortest side 3. We're going to label each box as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so here I've got 9 perfect squares inside my perfect square that makes up the shortest side A of my right triangle. Let's look at the next box. It's got a side length and edge of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I want you to keep going. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And this side of the right triangle has a length of 4. Its box connected to it has 16 perfect squares inside of it. The last one we're going to count this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Almost there. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 total little perfect squares inside the largest perfect square. Okay? Now, in this case, I want you to remember that each of these boxes, the number of boxes inside the perfect square, is called the area. Okay? So if I have a side length of 3, the box has an area of 9 little perfect squares made up inside of it. If I have a side length of 4, it has 16 perfect squares. And again, with 5, it has an area of 25 little perfect squares made up inside of it. Turn your journal this way, and we're just going to write that A equals 3 with an area of 9. Okay, and let's circle the 9. Let's draw an arrow from 3 to 9, and we're going to write the x squared button right in there to help us remember how to get from the side length to the area of a perfect square. B is 4 with an area of 16. And let's put a circle around that. Draw an arrow down here, and let's write the x squared button. Okay. Now I want you to draw an evaluation or solve line, and we're going to write solve right here. And we're going to talk about C. C equals 5 with an area of 25. And you can draw a little arrow through here and write the x squared button. Okay. Now remember, this is the solve line, so what I want you to think about here is, what do you have to do? Okay, make sure you write this clearly. What do you have to do with the 9 and 16? What would you have to do with these two to solve and get 25? All right, I'm going to leave it there. Let's move on. Raise your hand if you have any questions. I'll come around and help you individually. Great job.